Am I always this naked, you may ask? Well, of course not. But I do prefer to tell the naked truth. You see, I like it juicy, raw, and uncensored. The truth, that is. All right, so today I want to talk about gratitude. And no, this is not a Thanksgiving episode. So, contrary to a lot of people focusing on gratitude or Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day, I think we need to switch the culture into practicing mindfulness, living in the present, and practicing gratitude and thankfulness every single moment of our days, if not every day. So I do understand. Let's say if you know self-help things and you like watching videos that they say to make a list of things you are grateful for. So that's a great way to go if you want to start practicing that hard on. And then later on, you can definitely do it without making a list. So, what are you grateful for? Are you grateful for anything? Are you actually grateful for the good things that happen to you in your life? Or are you also grateful for the seemingly bad things happening in your life? As you know, if you've been watching our videos, that I do not believe there are things as good or bad. I just do know that life happens and how we respond to it will be our reality or what will happen to us. As we know that karma means action. So if you practice gratitude truthfully, you will be grateful for the things that happens to you that you do not like so much. It's in being grateful for those situations that's when we are living in the present. That's when we see hindsight without have to see hindsight years or months or weeks later. Because when you're living in the present and you're seeing what the lesson has to give to you and you see how you can get out of the situation and be grateful for the situation, that's true for me. That's true gratitude of thank you, universe, for bringing this to my door to help me grow. So I personally, whenever I wake up, you know when they say like cliche, oh wait, when you wake up, thank you that you're alive. I feel that um personally, not to yak anybody's yum. I feel like people who say that, I'm like, thank God you're alive, but how do you know what death is like? Death could be the greatest thing in the world. Like you don't know. So I understand what you mean. And as you know, if you've been watching my videos, that I have a different take on death. So this is where I'm coming from. So of course, when I wake up, I don't say I'm thankful I'm alive. But what I say is I am grateful that not only that I wake up alive, but healthy. Because there's a difference. You wanna be alive with a like a oxygen over your face and you're crippled and you don't have limbs and you're suffering. That's not a life for me. Thank you. And I know it's I'm saying being grateful whenever whatever happens to you, but you know sometimes easier said than done. And I've practiced enough to know that I probably would be grateful then, but at the same time, no one wants suffering either. You know, like especially those kind of suffering. And I'm so grateful that I yeah. Anyway, I mean, not there's no wood to knock. I'll knock boots, but wood no. So, are you laughing at my jokes? Are my jokes funny? I hope they are. I like to make jokes. I like to make people laugh and or even beat my own drums because who cares? It's funny. So yeah, so the way I'm grateful is I wake up and I'm grateful that I'm actually breathing because I used to have breathing problem and I do practice to cure my own self because I also diagnosed with as being asthmatic and I'm like hell to the MF no. I'm gonna meditate and do what I need to do so this won't be an issue. So And I'm grateful that I can breathe. So I'm grateful that I don't have to rely on my inhaler. I'm grateful that I still have a roof over my head, that I can still pay my rent, even though I'm not taking the mark of the beast. And work is scarce for me because most people want me to take it, and so I can feed myself and feed my kids. I don't have kids, but this body's a kid. So yeah. So speaking of that, do you like this shirt? If you like this shirt, I will post a description on the below. So with the link, so you can get the shirt and other shirts that I have. So because I'm an entrepreneur and I don't take the mark of the beast. So one way you can support is, of course, like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel, as well as getting on my Wednesday show to be a guest. If you are ready and have been working on getting rid of shame, doubt, fear, judgment for yourself. And so I would love that. And if you also would like to support some of my art, this is some of the art that I have. It's called A Day in My Life with Bunnies. I sell things, and I also have a YouTube channel that has those. So that's some ways you can support. You don't even need to buy anything. Just like subscribe. That would be nice. And if you don't, that's okay too. I still love you. That's fine because I'm doing this for me anyway, and you get to enjoy it. And so, yeah. So I'm grateful that I'm able to do art for myself. I'm grateful that I'm able to do these things and not being attached to the outcome of what people think about me or what people say. I'm grateful that I'm healthy, of course. I'm grateful that I don't know anyone that had died of COVID personally in my immediate. And I'm also grateful that a lot of people that I know personally haven't died or suffering, that they've told me about at least. I'm grateful that I don't have much friends, but the ones that I have count. And I did a video about why it's hard for me to keep or make friends. Please watch that. And I also sing. If you haven't seen any of my singing, there's my video called These Times. It talks about turmoils that I have in my head and why how I'm working, why I live in a castle and I keep walls around me to keep me safe, but my castles has become my jail. So it's better to be what's that thing called, house arrest than being in jail. But the jail is a jail. So still doing that human experience, spirit living this human experience. So thank you for coming with me. So I'm grateful for anything that's been happening in my life. I'm grateful for growing up. Oh my God, I'm so grateful growing up Jehovah's Witness because that helped me stay away from a lot of trouble. And I can see trouble coming from a mile away. And it makes me who I am today. And of course, I have some trauma and things that I have needed to work on like any other human beings. But that's part of life. And I'm grateful for those. And I'm grateful for that I started this podcast and I've spent some money on it, but not a lot. And I'm grateful that I believe in myself so much that I don't need anyone's words of affirmations. The only thing I kind of need is your acts of service to make this work all the way. But I'm so grateful that I don't need to rely on the good opinion of others, like my guru, Dr. Wayne Dyer says. And yeah, life is awesome. I often say, when people say, "How are you?" I said, "How am I? I am grateful that you are here today. I am grateful that you're interacting with me today." People don't know what to do with those responses. They think I'm going to say, "I'm fine, I'm well, I'm okay." I bring it back to them to make them think, to make them talk back to me, like, if you don't want to talk back to me, don't ask me how I'm doing, because if you're a cashier, say, "How are you?" I'm going to say, "Thank you for being here today. And I'm so grateful that you're working today." That's my response. If someone on the street say, "How are you?" and they keep walking, I'm going to grab their wrist and be like, "Don't ask me questions and walk away. Let me tell you how I'm doing." I'm grateful that you at least say, "How are you?" because that used to be a pet peeve of mine. I'm still working on it. It kind of annoys me. People would say, "How are you?" and they don't really want to care to know the answer. but life is high what you make of it. So now I'm gonna be like, you know what, at least they can be polite and be fake and say how are you. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that I'm able to even wear my own art, and I love it. And and I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for the enjoyment, and I'm grateful for the seemingly bad. Although I don't believe there's bad things, I believe things happen to you so you can grow. And so I want to know, are you only grateful for the good things in your life? Are you only grateful when Thanksgiving happen? Is that the only time you actually think of gratitude? I will challenge you. I would love you to take this challenge to every day when you wake up to think at least one thing you're grateful for. And every day from that day to add it. Like, let's say if you like one day, 15 day, 15 things. And you don't need to go extra or go crazy on it, but that could be a great practice for you. Because what gratitude have done for me is, because I focus on what I'm grateful for, even the seemingly bad things, it makes me appreciative of life. It makes me live in the present. Because as we all know, that fear is living in the future of things you imagine. You don't even know life and you imagine the worst. And um like, also doubt is that as well, because you're not living in the present. And if you just like let go and live and be grateful that you actually even have the thought process to do something, that's great. So I don't need to rant more. That's what I think about gratitude, and that's how I practice gratitude. And so the most prize, of course, there's so many things, but the most prize of gratitude that I have is my brain, because without that, I'll be a vegetable and none of it would matter. So tell us below on the comments and share what you're grateful for. And please remember to love yourself as much as you think you love someone else, because if you cannot love yourself, you cannot love others. Namaskar.